Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Rise and Write with Grace and James. I'm Grace.
I'm James.
And this is Rob Nicholson. He is joining us because he is a creator, collaborator, and fun company for the journey. Welcome, Rob.
Hey, Grace. Hey, Jim. How are you?
I'm good.
We're good. Rob and I go way back to, hometown. And we have a long, winding history, which we won't get into here. But
We'll be here for 2 hours.
Yeah, Rob is a singer, an actor, a playwright, a podcaster. What else, Rob?
I am a reckless Renaissance man.
Wow.
It's very true.
So few of those left. So few of those left.
Right? So I'm a phone man, which pays the bills. So they write me a check every 2 weeks, which makes me very, very, very happy. And on the rest of the time, I'm a dad of 3. I'm a partner of 1. I am a writer. I am a singer. I am an actor. I'm a podcast host. The Rock and Horror Podcast Show. You can see that in the back. Well, you can't see it right now.
Plug it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I like to create. I like to be able to give people a different place to go. Whether it's reading something I wrote or seeing me on stage or whatever. It's a crazy world out there, and it's nice to be able to disconnect for a while.
Yes. And that is exactly why I wanted to have you on first, because you've inspired me so much with your just endless creativity. Your brain is always spinning and you're always working, you're always doing something new. And I really admire that because it gets easy to not do these things as we get older. We're about the same age. It gets easy to say, you know what, I don't have time, or the car blew up, which happened to you, or other stuff.
Nice.
And to
that is funny.
It is. If it wasn't so funny, I would have probably jumped off a roof.
Oh man.
Car trouble. So there's always adult reasons to not do things, and
Sure.
You just keep doing it, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. So can you tell us what you're working on right now, in addition to the car problems and everything else?
Sure. So it has been a little while since I put paper to pen or fingers to keyboard. I'm really not a writer. I'm a writer. But this summer was challenging. We lost our dog. I blew up 2 cars in 48 hours. So my creative juices, while in here, were not translating out through here or anywhere else. So it's been kind of a crazy summer. And I'm starting to storyboard everything to get things back with the Rock and Horror Podcast Show. I have a couple of interviews lined up. So that's starting. I'm working on a screenplay called Benchmarks, which is too long of a story to tell here, but you'll be hearing much more about that in the future. That's really a labor of love, so to speak. And I think it's a very important story to tell. What else am I working on right now? There's some shows coming up that I may be involved in. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but I mean, my love is creating more than anything else. I do love to sing. I love applause. An actor is very narcissistic, and none of them will admit it, but I'll admit it. The applause is great. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of creative stuff rolling around in my head. It's just a matter of getting it back out on some kind of media for people to see.
Yeah. I want to dig into that 1 second, what you said about loving applause. Why is that? I mean, comedians love laughter. Mm-hmm. Writers love to hear we just like to hear yes is nice.
No, I like to hear our words spoken.
Yeah, we want to hear our words spoken or come to. Why is it bad for an actor to want to hear applause? Isn't that the point?
I don't know. For me, it's always seemed like a very narcissistic thing. And the running joke with Gina has always been, like it's it's about Rob. It's all about Rob. It's all about Rob, which. She's been dealing with that for pretty much most of her life. So, but yeah, I love making people feel good. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, if you sing a song and no one claps, you're kind of sitting there going,
I know.
Or if
Or
you tell a
tell a
joke,
yeah, and they're just
right.
staring at you like, I don't know what happened to the guy in the cab. Like,
Exactly. They
oh,
don't get
Yeah.
it, went right over their head, whatever.
yeah.
So there's definitely a narcissistic thing. It's like when you audition for something and you don't get that part. I mean, that eats away at you. I'm fully willing to admit that. A lot of people won't. And, you know, I don't go normally to see somebody else in something that I auditioned for if I didn't get that part. I did it one time and I was not very happy about that. So, but
I
I
don't know.
digress.
They say it's not personal, but it feels personal.
Oh, it
It's
100% feels personal. Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
our art is personal. It's like for us, if we're in a pitch meeting and don't get any, like not feeling it essentially is the
It's not
response.
personal.
It
Right.
Feels personal.
kind of hurts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like, so getting back to benchmarks for a second, no matter what happens with that, it could make $1 million, it could make 5 cents, it could make, everybody could hate it. I don't care. This is one of those things where I really don't care. It's something that I need to write. It's something that I need to create. And I think it's going to be phenomenal. If people don't view it that way, then I'm not, that I won't take to heart. It's one of the first things that I've ever created that I don't care about that part. It's just something that I need to do. And like with Press Between Pages, which was my novel in 2010, which is still undergoing rewrites over and over and over and over again. And then it became a 1-act play and a girl wrote a song for it and all that stuff. That was stuff that if someone didn't like it, it would destroy me. Really, inside. I mean, you know, I wouldn't be outwardly bad about it or whatever. But that's something that was completely different. I mean, that's something I had worked on pretty much my whole life for people that know about that story. And, you know, when I finally got to hear actors speak those words, when I wrote it as a 1-act play, which one, you know, and writing about these people that have been part of my life, including your brother, you know, it was out of body, really watching these people create, you know, their own take on what I was writing. Because, you know, you write the words on paper, you guys know that as screenwriters, and you have in your head, you have how it's going to be portrayed, you know, and how it's going to be spoken. And then you see them do it and you're like, well, that was really good. It wasn't quite what I thought, but that was really good. Or that was not really good. So like with Press Between Pages, the best thing was I was able to, with Gina, direct the people that were on stage. Whereas when you guys are writing something and you guys contract it out, you sell it, boom, it's gone. And you might see it on screen, you know, a year later and be like, that's not at all what we wanted. Or it might even exceed your expectations. So
Yeah, or not come to fruition at all, which has happened, and you do have to let it go and move on.
Yep.
You mentioned that I know Press Between Pages is a very personal project. Who I know you collaborated with Gina on it, you collaborated with other people. You've done other types of projects where that haven't been so personal. Who do you normally collaborate with, and what do you like and dislike about that collaboration process?
So, I mean, in the circle of friends that we have, you know, that Gina and I both have, and some more me than others, I'm always looking for advice. I mean, that's one of the reasons that your group really, you know, clicked in my head, was that here's a place where it's almost like a summer camp for people to go to and be like, you know, all buddy and, you know, just share ideas. And during the pandemic, we had the artists grind. It was basically a group for creators in the theater world to get together, and we did play readings and things like that. And when you surround yourself with those types of people, you almost get things by osmosis, even when you're not asking the questions. So you'll just hear somebody say something and it'll click, and then later on you might be thinking and, you know, and put that down. Most of the time I don't collaborate when I write. I'm a very private writer that way. So I envy you guys being able to, you know, write together and not, you know, slit each other's throats. I think hasn't
happened yet.
There you go.
It's always good for horror.
Sure. And I mean, like with Gina, pretty much anything I write, I'll always show to her in some way, shape, or form.
Mm.
And she can be critical, and it probably bothers me more than I would let on. Not that she does that though, I mean, that's not really, she's never really looked at something and been like, that's garbage. She might be like, no, you need to change this. but no, writing wise, it's by myself. Editing wise, anything I ever need edited again will go to G. She was lockstep with me when we did the one act, in both the editing process of the play itself, and then everything on stage. I kind of was able to take a step back during some of that, and which was really, really good, because it was so personal, and there was the character of Rob Landers, which obviously was based on Rob, and finessing him, fine-tuning him on paper, that was a collaboration between Gina and I. But the biggest thing was with Matt, playing him on stage. Gina really took the bull by the horns and was like, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. And with Rob's mother, I would not have picked the right person for the character to actually be played if it wasn't for her, because we had a very limited audition turnout for that part, so
Yeah.
But yeah, Gina's the big collaborator with me.
We'll get Gina on another time. We'll get her side of all this. So we talked about collaborating. What do you find most challenging overall? The creating process, the collaborating process, or the having fun process?
The creating process what it comes down to is time. That's what it really comes down to. And, when you have a regular 9 to 5, like most of us do, when you're done with that 9 to 5, depending on how labor intensive it is, i.e. working till 9 o'clock almost last night, you come home and you're just like, all I want to do is watch TV and sit down and eat Cheerios and whatever. And that's the hard part. And then when you do have that day off, for someone like me whose brain is here, and I think that's the problem with a lot of creators. They have very scattered minds. And so I'm actually, I'll tell you.
Telling everyone.
Well, that's fine too. So I take Vyvanse, which is it's like an Adderall type thing, because my focus was just, especially with everything that happened this summer, and I probably should have been on it before, but it's helped me be hyper focused, which I'm really, really hoping to use to my advantage. The problem is the hyper focus kicks in about like 9:30 in the morning, and I'm at work. So it's like, wait a second, can I take like an hour and just write? So now what I do is I carry around my backpack, and in my backpack are my tablet, so my iPad, my MacBook, my camera, my DSLR, a microphone. So I always have a microphone where I can just say stuff. I mean, a lot of people use their phone, but this Zoom recorder thing that I have is fantastic. It records right to an SD card. No matter what the thing is that I'm thinking of at that point, I can say it and then go back and look at it or whatever.
What tool is that? I'm curious.
It is a Zoom microphone.
Zoom.
I think it's called
microphone.
Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, the Zoom HN1.
Okay, because we talk tools too. That's important. Oh, you're out of focus there. Okay. And it records right to that device?
Yep.
That's wild.
And then I can transfer it right to my computer. I've had it for about a year and a half. I didn't use it for the longest time. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. While I'm driving, I can actually picture it like the old, dictator microphone or whatever they call it.
Like in Twin Peaks. In Twin Peaks, he was like, we found the body by the lake. And I don't know if he sounded like that, but
he probably did. You're sitting on the psychiatrist's couch and he's going, well, this man is really screwed up in the head. But yeah, so but all my creativity tools are always with me. People ask me constantly, why do you bring your laptop, your tablet, your phone, your camera, all that stuff? Why do you bring all that stuff to work? Well, when I'm up in the bucket, my camera a lot of times will come with me because I might see a bear or I might see something, a vista that looks really, really fantastic. And while this is a fantastic camera, my DSLR is much better. So if I know I'm going to be in a very, very good area, you know, then it gives me something. I take pictures all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, some kind of camera is always going. And why? Because I can go back and look and I might see something that will make me create. I mean, benchmarks came to be just because of a plaque on a bench in New York City on New Year's Eve. That's it.
Yeah, it's a great backstory. I know the
And
story you're talking about. You've told
right.
me about it. Yeah, it's a great backstory.
So, and I actually, I was mind blown. His brother reached out to me and became friends with me. And I was blown away because now I'm going to he told me he wants to talk to me. He'll give me the whole backstory on Brent and, you know, just character, like what his character was like, jokes he told, little inside things that he said. So that way I can shape that character even more, which is really, really cool. So.
Nice. Well, that's interesting. So you mentioned the morning. We talked a little bit online this week about routines.
Sure.
You mentioned the morning that morning is not a good time for you because you're getting up and running out. What is
morning is good time.
Oh, it is. Oh, what would your ideal routine be if you could shape it yourself?
If I could shape it myself, my writing time would definitely be in the morning. You know, first thing, cup of coffee, come here, upstairs, wherever on my laptop, and just do that. The problem is a lot of times it's my one day off and I'm just beat. So like I kind of veg out, I space out watching TikTok videos or, you know, YouTube looking for that spark and doing that. So it's been, that's been a challenge. So like I said, now that everything is kind of simmered down and I feel like, you know, now I'm singing on stage again and doing things on stage, and that's kind of changed the thing back to a sense of normalcy. I actually bought another copy of the Screenwriter's Workbook, which is just filled with worksheets of, you know, where you can write your characters, and I'm actually going to show you because it's a really cheap book that I got years and years ago, and I think it's out of. What's that?
They're handy. I talked last week and excellent. Yeah, I talked last week when Jim was talking to me about how I have a little file called Toolbox with forms, and questions that I ask myself to get myself started.
Yep.
And the book that I wrote, the rough draft that I have, I would at night email myself a prompt for the morning. And when I went to check my email in the morning, the prompt was right there, and I would literally reply to myself with my 500 words. And
that's awesome.
So I just kind of built the writing routine into the thing that I was already doing, which was checking my phone first thing, which I know is a terrible habit, but let's not deny the fact that we're all doing it. I mean, you know what I mean?
There are terrible habits. I don't know if that's cocaine is a terrible habit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like checking your, you know, it's not ideal, but.
So I find, we were talking about deadlines. So I find if there is a firm date, most of the time that spurs me. Like I did Pressed Between Pages, the first draft, in November 2010 and did it in 1 month as part of National Novel Writing Month. And there are people that are like, you can't write a good novel in a month. Yeah, that's crap. You can. I mean, if you write the amount of words every day that you're supposed to, at the end of the month, you have a 50,000 page novel, which is just into novel territory. I ended up with 72,000 words because I'm very verbose. So,
loquacious.
Yeah, there you go. So if there's a deadline there, if there is even though National Novel Writing Month, you don't win anything, in your head you do. Because you did that. You did the thing and you did it in 30 days. So they actually have a summer program that, you know, you do a screenplay in 30 days, all of this stuff. And I find that I work better in those parameters. When I have to challenge myself to have a deadline, the problem is I don't have a deadline. Like if someone from Paramount came to me and said, we want benchmarks, we love the treatment, we need it in 30 days, it would be done in 30 days, money or no money. As soon as you give me that date and I know that it's going somewhere,
I understand.
that's when the thing happens.
Yeah,
I get
external
that.
pressure.
Yeah.
Versus internal pressure. Yeah,
Right.
that's why I like the idea of accountability with my writing group, and even just talking to you, like making sure, like I kept telling you, like I want you to be the first, because it would be so easy to not
Sure.
do this today, and I feel like I just need to get people around me who are going to be like, so when are you going to record next week? Even though no one, like no audience yet, or maybe at all, or whatever,
Right.
but someone outside of us who's,
Yep.
what do you guys do? I think it's so great. You're
Yeah,
such,
I actually, I in TikTok, I found there's a guy named Brave Dave, and he's got a huge TikTok following, and he's not older, Jesus, he's a little bit younger than me, maybe, but he's a parent. I think he has 3 kids. He names them affectionately 1, 2, and 3, and then he tells funny stories about these kids and what they do, and that, just being a dad. So anytime he's on, he has me rolling. I love listening to him. So I just reached out the one day in the comments, and I said, listen, I would love to interview you, because he was talking about Shawshank Redemption, and it happens to be one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
So as soon as he said that, I was like, boom, I'm reaching out. I don't care if he reads the comment or not. And he's like, oh my God, yeah, absolutely. He goes, I'll get with you. Find me on Instagram. I'll get back with you there. So I messaged him on Instagram. He watched one of my, the beginnings of one of my videos. Like, you have a great voice, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, thanks, I guess. So he's going to come on, and we're going to talk about Shawshank Redemption,
cool.
and that's, again, you put yourself out there, you network with the right people, you eventually get, the person or people that you need. My best friend, Tony, I've talked to you about him before, out there where you are, out in the left coast. And, he went out to San Diego, originally to San Diego, and just decided that that's what he wanted to do, and he wanted to create. And he started his own production company. Then he became one of the most well-known horror documentary people in the industry. And it's because he knows how to sell himself. He isn't fake, and he just goes out and does. And now his production company is producing the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, which, for some people may not mean a whole hill of beans, but it's an iconic piece of history horror-wise. And to be involved in that is just, it's stunning. Yeah. So, he's got a backstory too, with a project called Chameleon that I read the screenplay on years and years ago, and I loved. And, we started talking about it again recently, and I was like, you need to go back and revisit this, because this is the time to do it. I said, I'll even look at it. And, now that I have a little bit more familiarity with screenwriting and the process of that, using Final Draft, just doing that is, it could be cathartic. I mean, because that's really one of the first things he ever did, and it's such a good story, so now that, and he connects and he has people. So, I use him as a calling card with his permission. He's like, yeah, he goes, if you're at a con and you see somebody you want to talk to, tell him Tony says hello. And it works a lot. So,
Well, yeah. Well, you made me more brave, and I appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you.
Because I wouldn't be recording. I wouldn't even be on Zoom right now if it wasn't for just seeing how you've stepped into it. I love the way you just try stuff. I admire it. I just admire it. Like you're fearless. I don't know what the word is. You just step out fearlessly and try stuff. And
you know what it comes down to? It comes down to, honestly, and this more than anybody, it's that you don't know what tomorrow is.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen. And what's the alternative? I'm 47 years old. You're close.
Stop it.
But I mean, at the end of the day, who knows how much more time we have. And it's not about being famous. It's not about making $1 bazillion. All those things are awesome. Jim's like, well, Gina's down here going, well, but no, I mean, all that stuff is great. But at the end of the day, what are you doing it for? Yeah. If all you're doing it for is fame, fortune, and whatever else, then I don't think you're doing it for the right reasons. I do it because I love it. And I do it because I like making other people laugh or be happy or whatever. And that includes all aspects of creating. You know, press for 2 pages, labor of love. Benchmarks, still a labor of love. But that's something that I really want to share with the world as soon as it's done. Press for 2 pages, there's some parts of it that I still don't want people to see, you know, so we see what happens. But surrounding yourself with like-minded people, who most of the time are all alphas, so sometimes it's very, very hard.
It's ridiculous.
You know, I know. I got the best idea. No, I got the best idea. No, I got the best idea.
I'm funnier.
That's it. You know, so I mean, that part is tough, and especially in theater, because, you know, you're all jockeying for the same position. You know, you're all trying to be the one that's noticed, and people filter themselves out that way because upstaging is a real thing, and they just kind of, they end up weeding themselves out.
You also rise to the occasion. I mean, when
Sure.
that pressure's on, and that's what you need to do as an actor, I'm sure, I don't know, because I don't think I've ever been on stage, but you need to either show up or not show up.
Yep.
Like, and for your castmates, like you would need a castmate who's all in. Like it would be awkward if you had somebody who was reserved,
Yeah.
holding back. So, well, I appreciate, I'm going to applaud you because you like applause. We're going to applaud you. I'm applauding Gina too, because I know she's there also. And we'll get her
You're doing
on.
a good thing, Gracie.
We'll get her on another time. But thank you so much for taking time
Appreciate
today.
it.
And we're going to talk again, I know. And I'm going to be quoting you all week on the private page, and we'll see you in there.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to
Bye.
you now. I'm going to leave.
Okay, you're leaving. Okay.
I'm leaving. Here we go.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. Well, that was Rob Nicholson out of Hopatcong, New Jersey, joining us. Next week, we're going to have another guest lined up. We're not sure yet. I'm going to line somebody up, though. I have a lot of people who are willing to talk to me, and I appreciate it. If you are willing to talk to us, drop us a comment. Let us know how we did. Let us know what you thought of Rob's interview. And we'll be talking all week in the private group. I'll put a link in again at the bottom of this. You can join us over there. There's a couple of membership questions just to weed out any lurkers. And we'll and we'll break down what we talked about with Rob this week. So, anything to add?
No, I got
You've been
nothing.
quiet today.
No,
yeah,
I wasn't.
Jim's,
You know, when you're sitting next to you, there's not much time to talk.
oh, okay. We'll
No,
let
I meant that as sort of fun.
We'll let Jim talk next week. Okay, but until then, until next time, set your alarms for whatever time you feel most creative and productive, and then go rise and write.
All right, bye-bye.
See you
See you
then.
next week.